In this video, we're going to look at document design. We'll use these principles to look at a resume, but you can apply the same principles to any type of document, either printed or online. Before we discuss the actual principles, we need to understand why we are discussing design in a class that people typically think of as a writing class. The reality is business communication is not about writing or design, it's about communicating ideas. By using design, we can better help our readers understand the content, find the content, remember the content, learn how different pieces of content relate to one another. So document design becomes an important part of actually communicating ideas to an audience. Now, if you're not a designer, don't worry. We're not asking you in this course to actually become a graphic designer. There's a terrific book out that discusses how non-designers can actually apply some basic principles in order to make documents easier to understand, easier for the readers to locate information, and so on. Those are the principles that we'll be discussing today. Specifically, we'll be looking at 4 basic principles of design: contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity. We'll discuss each of those in more detail. Contrast basically means making an element different, making it stand out from other elements so that the reader is more likely to notice it. Repetition means that we apply the design elements consistently based on the type of information we're using. We can use color, we can use shapes, we can use bullet lists, we can use italic, bold. Whatever design elements we use, we apply them consistently to the information in our document. The principle of alignment means that nothing is placed on the page arbitrarily. Everything is placed according to what type of information it is. For example, we might indent some elements to indicate that they are a subset of the item above it. Using alignment, we are able to establish a hierarchy and relationship between types of information. Proximity means that we group similar types of information together, and then we use white space to distinguish types of information that are not the same or are not related. Now let's apply these principles to a sample document. We'll use the text for a resume. As you can see in this example, the resume text is hard to read, nothing particularly stands out, the spacing in between the lines is all the same. We can make the text more readable by simply applying the principle of proximity. Proximity simply means that we group like items together and we add extra space in between items that are not the same or are not similar. In this example, I have made the line spacing between similar items single-spaced, and I have added extra space between different sections. This provides a sense of chunking information or grouping. Even a quick glance now will allow the reader to see what information is similar and what information is different. This makes the document easier to skim and easier to find information. Now we can apply contrast and repetition. In this example, I have applied contrast by adding bold, changing the font color in some areas, changing the font size in other areas, and even adding a line to distinguish between major sections. Those contrasting elements are repeated consistently throughout the document. For example, all section headers have the same font size, color, and the same line extending to the right. Finally, we apply the principle of alignment. In this document, we have indented some sections and left some sections out to the left. This provides some structure or hierarchy that allows the reader to understand which elements are subsets and which elements are main section headers. It also provides additional white space that makes the document more welcoming, easier to read and skim. When you compare the finished product to the original design, you can see what a difference the 4 principles make. Once again, you do not need to be a graphic designer. Focus on the principles of contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity. Apply each one with care and consideration, and your document will be easier to read and make more of an impact on your audience.